I'm Johan Rashi-Vega, and here we are in our main studio here in Holyoke Media at Watercourt Plaza in Holyoke, Massachusetts. I want to welcome Carlos Uriona, who is one of the masterminds on Double Edge Theater in Ashfield, Massachusetts. Carlos, welcome.
Thank you, Johan. It's a pleasure to be with you here, Holyoke Media, this new Holyoke Media.
And it's a pleasure to be able to talk together and to particularly focus on something that has to do not only with the work that Double Edge does, promoting arts and embracing arts, performance, and community, but also in this case, a very meaningful visit that we are going to have from a girl, a 12 feet tall girl, who happens to be a puppet. Little Amal, who is beginning her journey through the United States, being Ashfield the second stop of the journey that will end in San Diego after 6,000 miles of walking through the nation and seeing all the different people, places, experiences, but also bringing a powerful message. So tell us all about this visit of Little Amal.
I will tell as much as I can. I don't know if I can tell all, but probably quite a bit. Little Amal, first of all, those of you that haven't heard about Little Amal, this puppet, please go online and find the images. It's been around for several years now, probably 4. I'm not precise about this, and also had already done 6,000 miles around the world. This massive puppet, who doesn't necessarily speak, probably she won't speak, is a Syrian refugee girl, little girl, that is going around the world after being displaced from her hometown near Aleppo in Syria. And she travels and interacts with people, opening people's eyes to this, just this, a simple girl with curiosity that has been thrown out violently from her place and survived. She will start this weekend, Saturday, in Boston with Arts Emerson and the Paramount Theater and other venues in Boston, and then she will continue the journey, and the second stop will be Ashfield, and then probably, I think the next one is Masmoka in North Adams, and then Hartford. But this is going to be a series of cities, a number of cities in the US, 6,000 miles, with thousands of artists like myself being part of this, and thousands of audience and people that will gather to receive her. Now, what is special about Ashfield? Ashfield is where Double Edge has its base. I'm one of Double Edge members, one of the artistic directors. We are a collective, and we have a cooperation, a collaboration with other institutions, and some of them is very strong. One of them is Ohketeau Cultural Center. Ohketeau Cultural Center is a native people center, cultural center, led by Rhonda Anderson, who's Inupiaq, and Larry Spotted Crowman, who is an artist from the Nipmuc community. The Nipmuc community is one of the communities that were originally based in Western Massachusetts. Larry and some other Nipmuc members will receive Little Amal. And as a part of this conglomerate of people, there is also Jupiter Performance Studios from Harlem, who this week happened to be organizing a large convening of artists from all over the country, and all these artists are going to be part of this reception. I'm going to pause here.
So beautiful to see how one visit, it is also a reason for such a big gathering, where multiple people who are connected through arts to different experiences in life, coming from different backgrounds, having different cultures, different languages as part of their baggage of what they can bring, are going to be all connected through the visit of Little Amal, which is a beautiful way to also bring meaning to her name, because Amal means hope in Arabic, and her visit is so full of it, because it's not only to bring the visibility of people who, as many who are here in the United States, particularly here in our region of Western Massachusetts, as refugees, and oftentimes invisible. And it's ironic how we need to see a 12 feet tall girl as a puppet, as a way to actually make people see and realize many more people like her are here among us. And we need to acknowledge that. And not only as refugees, but also the connection that you're mentioning that Ohketeau is doing in order to welcome Little Amal as another way to recognize, honor, remember, and give that recognition to the First Nations, to the First People, particularly the Nipmuc people here in our region.
Who, as Larry pointed out to me, have had this traumatic experience of so many children lost to abuses and excesses and horrors. So to bring a child as an image, it's a painful moment. At the same time, is like you're saying, is through creativity and imagination, opening a door of hope and a door of, can we transform this reality? Can we dream of a reality that we transform, that is different?
As someone who is involved in arts and performance, what is the meaning for you to see this beautiful puppet visiting and being brought to life through this masterful ancient art of puppetry?
It's true. I mean, I'm involved in art, and not only I'm involved in art, but probably through my 42 years of doing this. I was 24 when I started. I'm 66, so it's 40-something. I did a lot of both things, puppetry and street theater. I have pleasure when I see these interactions between people and an animated object. When I see people playing like children, when I have the opportunity myself of go into a child's world with all that rich imagination and creativity. Playing, it's not a coincidence that in English you use the word playing for music, for theater, for dance. You're playing. It's our most ancient tool of education. Shamans have used that. The the four salves of healing traditionally are silence, which this puppet does, storytelling, dancing, and music. And when in history, you know, many cultures that anthropologists have researched, they say that the shamans would ask the person, how long has it been since you danced? How long has it been? When you're presenting yourself with some sort of malad, something that you don't know, but you're not feeling well. So these are very powerful. Playing is a very powerful activity of our species. And it's an activity that both helps us heal, but also helps us learn. You know, in the ancient times, they didn't have the schools the way we have them. So the learning was, there were rounds, and a lot of people still do it. It's a round of people, and there's music and dancing, and there's a story being told. This massive puppet is coming with a story, even if she's not delivering a story in words. As an artist that have been involved in the arts, that to me is of a very powerful meaning that makes me somehow realize and make connections that otherwise, like you said, you know, I wouldn't be making, and probably I would just continue invisibilizing like anybody else things like this.
And thinking, when you mentioned being playful and utilizing play as a process of education, I think the fascination of seeing a puppet coming to life every time is a magical moment.
Yeah.
Because our understanding of facts about is an inanimated object, but the moment it begins to move, we break all the rules and we believe. We know, we feel it being alive.
Yeah.
And whatever happens in those moments becomes a unique experience that connects with our inner child, that makes for any child to feel the magic being around. So I can only imagine the power of having Little Amal visiting, bringing her story, which is the story of many people, and at the same time connecting with different cultures, with different places, different experiences, being curious. And all through that playful, that beautiful energy that comes from the imagination of children, and especially their innocence.
Innocence. Yes. There's something really important about innocence that's another thing that in my view, in my seeing of reality nowadays has been somehow moved to the side as a value. And I think it's so important, you know, to recognize what's still innocent in us. And B, don't rush to so much to not be innocent. I think it's so important, and I think that what you're saying, right, like how you feel about that moment. I mean, it's not an accident that two of the major TV shows in the history of the U.S. television, one is Mr. Rogers, and the other one is The Muppets. Do I need to say anything else? I mean, yeah, some people, you might not like it, Sure, but you cannot not acknowledge what happened as a phenomenon in this culture because of this. Playing with animated objects, retrieving the child and retrieving the innocence, like Kermit the Frog, and that importance.
So, what can people expect from the experience of Little Amal visiting Ashfield, particularly being Ashfield a special point because she will be arriving to Boston? Big city, a lot of activity, a lot of places to see, but then coming to a place that is the opposite of a city like Boston, but full of energy, full of synergy, especially full of meaning because of her visit and the people who will be welcoming her.
I think, I might be wrong, but I think that what we can expect, most of us can expect an experience of awe. I think from what I'm hearing, a lot of people are going to come to Ashfield this Sunday. By the way, it's in the town hall. It starts at the Commons, and then we're going to go to the lake, walking. It's a ritual, a modern ritual, and a ritual what we don't have rigid protocols. It's not prescribed. It's being organized, and there are people working for it, but your participation is open, and you can come and experience. Always what I think is going to be awe-provoking. And yes, there's probably going to be a wide range of experiences. And why not? There might be indifference at some point for some people. But in that wide range, I think it's worthwhile being a part of it, definitely. It's going to be unique, and it's going to be historic.
Especially when we are seeing right now in the situations that the United States as a place where many people have come and continue coming and will continue coming, looking for a better life. And the struggles that happen for many in a very unfair way. I think this is a reminder of that, which is, by the way, the bottom line of the message that Little Amal is bringing for people to remember them and to continue growing and educating themselves about migrations, about the cultural heritage that people who are coming from multiple places around the world are bringing here and make what we are today as a community, as a society. So it will be great to see how after coming here and then continue the journey until finishing in San Diego towards the end of the year. We'll be visiting Washington, D.C., the country's capital, and it will be interesting to see the reactions of people and institutions and hopefully even government about the meaning of that visit, knowing that it all started in Ashfield.
Yeah, it's a historic moment, I think. But more so also, I think that 100% of the people that are not native here migrate or are immigrants. And I would say that the vast majority, and I have no idea of percentages, but I would say over 80% of us have been through a war, or our parents have been through a war, and therefore they moved, or our grandparents have been through a war, and therefore they moved. So we have been also invisibilizing our own histories. Perhaps because it is difficult to see that in our own selves we are displaced too, or our ancestors were displaced too. So this is a good opportunity to also see ourselves again and remember.
So the visit of Little Amal will be taking place in Ashfield this Sunday, September 10th, 12:30.
Yeah, it's starting,
and perfect opportunity to gather, to welcome her, but also to enjoy and together as community think how can we take actions as part and as consequence of this visit and this awareness.
Yes. What can we do? What can we do? It needs to be simple. It doesn't need to be a big thing. Can we help somebody else? Can we remember what happened to our family? What happened to our grandparents that came from Europe or from Middle East, from Africa, in terrible conditions? And I know that a lot of cultures are aware and they are working on, but there's also among those cultures people that don't necessarily, they can't see sometimes. It's not just a negation, but it's an impossibility. So this is a good opportunity. This is an animated object. It's something that emotionally puts us in a different way, in a different place, and it allows us to mirror and to see ourselves, and to then maybe be able to, from there on, like you're proposing, mobilize ourselves into a small action of healing and of sharing that healing with others.
And Carlos, now that you are also back from Argentina, you were there for the past weeks, and after a successful summer season, Double Edge, and also your tour before that through Europe, this has been a really beautiful year to celebrate 40 years of Double Edge Theater, and the work continues. So what are some of the plans and the projects that are you working on?
So this week we have this convening of artists from all over the US and the visit of Little Amal. At the end, by the beginning of October, a documentary by Ohketeau is finishing, and it will be premiered at Double Edge Theater. It's called Anoki. And then after that, the production of Lightning will premiere at Double Edge Theater, directed by Jeremy Louise Eaton, which is one of our ensemble members, with mostly the young cast of Double Edge. After that, during that overlap to that, we continue exploring new productions. This summer we did the Bacchae, the same as the previous summer. So this past summer. So now we're going to do this sort of work that we did outdoors using the brook and a pond into an indoor performance. We're going to continue to produce the work that we did with the material of the life and the artistic work of Leonora Carrington. That was the tour that we just finished. That performance we have been doing since 2017. So this is going to be the 5th year of that performance. We're starting new projects that I'm not really able to say much about it because it's in a phase of research. We continue to co-produce work with Jupiter Performance Studios and with Ohketeau. Also, we're in a phase of co-production and interactions with the Theater Offensive, which is a theater from Boston, LGBTQ BIPOC theater. So there's a lot. I think there's quite a bit going on, and there'll be more in Little Ashfield. It keeps us busy. We're going to start a project in Bulgaria, and there are other countries that we're already talking about, and other cities in the US that are interested in our work. So we need to shape all of that and bring it to some kind of actualization, realization. But yeah, so it's all working.
Which is a beautiful way to continue this legacy of 40 years already of work through different projects and multiple people involved, and now seeing that you have a new group, a new cohort,
Yeah.
a next generation of artists and performers from different origins and cultural backgrounds being part of this, taking now the next level of production. I think this is the purpose of education, the purpose of performing, creating together, making community, which is something that Double Edge has been really, really unique and special on creating that, and also getting people involved into that experience as well. So even if people visiting the space are not necessarily performers or artists, just audience, they become part of the group for that unique moment, and that something so valuable that becomes part of that experience of learning and continuing sharing what we have learned through our different multiple experiences together. So for that, I am really grateful, and I appreciate all the work that you all do, and the reminder for you and everybody in Double Edge, as well as Ohketeau, and in collaboration, to come back and use our spaces to talk about your work, so we can help amplifying that representation, support it, and enjoy of the work that is happening, because it's one of the most valuable treasures we have in arts here in our region in Western Massachusetts.
You know that I have been, particularly myself, as I've been talking to you about this. It's something we cannot really say publicly, but yes, there is a very firm interest in this collaboration between Holyoke Media and Double Edge Theater and other partners of ours. So we just need to shape it, and we're finding the way to do it. And it's, you know, a lot of this is about time. It's taking the time and being consistent with it and committing to it. And so far we have been doing it. So I'm very confident that at some point we will be able to announce a Double Edge Holyoke Media collaboration.
Well, Carlos, thank you so much for being here with us today, for sharing what it has been the work so far, and also for your involvement in this visit for Little Amal. I know it's going to be a beautiful and meaningful experience that we will be joining to document and have some moments to share with our audience. In case that any of you can make it, it will be this Sunday, September 10th at 12:30 p.m. in Ashfield, Massachusetts, and
at the Commons, the town Commons, in the center,
and walking all the way to the lake. Carlos, once again, thank you so much, and what a pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Johan, and on behalf of the whole community there, our appreciation to Holyoke Media, to you, for this openness and this invitation to talk.